a very close confidant of the president, Mr. Moses Kuria, went to the media and said there will be no election in 2027. And he went on to say that a group of men of power will sit and decide what each one of them gets. You get this, your region gets this, you get this, and then the regime will extend their rule to I don't know when. So suppose Moses Kure is right, since he sits in the high offices and is a presidential advisor and a long-time friend. Suppose he's right. What maybe could transpire for us to get there, for us to skip an election after 5 years? Number one, if the country is under state of emergency, no election can be held. And for us to get to a state of emergency, there must be reasons, and one of those reasons is maybe the country is at war, maybe the country is facing terror from a hostile country or from a terror group like Al-Shabaab, or maybe we are having internal, maybe inter-community violence like we had in 2007. And so the president calls for a state of emergency, which goes on to be approved by the parliament. And as our parliament looks right now, the president will get that so easily, maybe to a point of 90%, since even most of the MPs are afraid to go back to the ballot, to go back to the people, because they can't win that election. Most of them will be going home. There will be like more than 75% change. The next parliament will have very new faces. So the current MPs will not shy away from extending Ruto's rule, because by doing so they will be extending their own. The other case scenario, okay, still on a state of emergency, the regime as we know it, they could plant violence. They could call one community to fight with this other community. The whole country will be at chaos. They could use terror groups, the Mungiki, the Al-Shabaab, all these terror groups, to terrorize the citizens, so that they find a good reason to call for a state of emergency. That's very possible. We know this regime has been very ruthless, and they've done so many things, so it wouldn't be strange for them to cause violence to get a reason to call for a state of emergency. The next thing that would maybe cause the country to skip an election is death of a candidate. In the maybe 3 previous elections, we've had very funny candidates. Let me use the word funny for lack of a better word. We've had the likes of Wajakoya, we have had the likes of Kiapi, we've had Mwaure, we had Abdubadida. So we would have maybe a case where the ballot has like 12 candidates. The government will finance very many people from different regions to contest, and then accidentally, quote unquote, one of them is killed. Maybe, God forbid, Mr. Wajakoya overuses his substance and maybe goes to a club and gets shot, or maybe loses his life in a club violence or something. That's enough to call off the election, because the election will not be fair, since the candidate maybe lost his life in an unclear circumstances, which maybe the reason was to deny him from winning the election, when we know too well the candidate did not even stand a chance to win such an election. And so the government can also use such a reason to postpone an election, finance as many candidates and then deny them security, and then maybe send one of them to Zayuni for you to call off an election. So that will take IBC maybe another 3 or 6 months to plan for another election, because there will be maybe need to change the ballots, need to eject his name from the list, and maybe new candidates will pop up. That could be another trick that this regime will be using come 2027 to extend their rule. The other reason is the regime can choke the budget of the IEBC. The IEBC can be given very meager resources to make them unable to give us a verifiable and a credible election. And so this will cause litigation. Maybe IEBC will go to court, or maybe any voter will go to the court and say IEBC as it stands doesn't look capable to hold a general election. And so the court will stop the election until that time that IEBC will be seen to be capable, properly resourced to hold an election. That could also be another trick that this regime might be employing come 2027 to avoid an election. The other reason I notice mainly because we've had them before. We've had people going to court maybe to claim that the company being given the contract to print the ballots or to supply the government with the logistics to send ballots even to every corner of this country was not done fairly. We may have people appealing cases. Some will be maybe contesting the names of commissioners like we are having now. These cases may delay election, and they could be government litigated cases, like government instigated cases. The government use a person we don't know, a voter, a random person. They finance him, they give him a legal team to go to court to contest that the companies that have been given a chance to supply election materials are partisan, or they are from this. The procurement was not open, or it wasn't fair, and this would cause us to to extend the election up to next year. So these are some of the case scenarios that would see the election being pushed. And the president, as we know him, is very scheming. We know him is not your average demon. He knows a lot of things, and he's willing to do them. Many people know a lot of things, but not many are willing to do them. But this one, he's always willing to do everything that can keep him at the top. So let's pray that we don't get there, because a lot of lives will be lost in case we have artificial violence sponsored by the state against the people to get a reason to call for a state of emergency. That will not be a nice thing. And we may have protests, we may have people coming out to say we must hold an election, or we must have a caretaker government. All these are very crazy ways of doing it, because a caretaker government may be military, or maybe people assigned by the United Nations, or maybe we have a group of nations coming to arbitrate or to negotiate who will be in charge of the caretaker government. Maybe the opposition to front one person, maybe the government to front another, this party to front this, of which that will also cause an extension of election. It won't be beautiful at all. So I hope we will not get there, and it also takes us as a people to avoid violence, because these are some of the things that the government enjoys, so that they can find reasons, such reasons to extend the elections, to stay in power for a state of emergency takes maybe 6 to 12 months. It's not supposed to extend 12 months. But as we know, this government, they can call for a state of emergency maybe for 10 months, then they call it off. Then before we plan for another election, they call for another one. You see, that will have given them close to more than a year to plan more violence and to extend the regime and do things the way they are doing them now, and maybe do them even worse. So until next time, continue watching the Ndongo Report. Bye.